Shakyamuni Buddha, we all singer and practitioners.
Chiều ngày thứ Bảy, 12 tây tháng 7 năm
It is
2025,
Saturday afternoon,
chúng ta tiếp tục
July
bài
12,
là bình đẳng của Đạo
2025.
Phật.
We continue with the
Nói
topic
cái nghĩa bình đẳng, Đạo Phật là đến chỗ triệt
equality
để,
in Buddhism.
tuyệt đối.
When we talk about
Thì
equality
nói cái
in Buddhism,
Phật
we're talking about
ta,
the
nó khác với cái
ultimate
thế gian
equality, the absolute.
trên tướng, trên âm
Another way to talk about
sắc
the
tướng.
practice is different from the equality
Thì
referred to by
đối với lại cái
the
phương
common
pháp
word
tự tánh,
based on
nhưng mà cái
the
ý của Phật
appearance or the sound.
giảng trong kinh
When we talk about
thì
the
cái
nature of
bài
everybody
này
being
chúng ta
equal,
rốt ráo thấu
we are
rõ
talking about something that the Buddha
cái lời của
mentioned
Phật,
in the sutra.
cái ý của Phật thì chúng ta phải công phu
In order for us
tu tập,
to understand
chứ không phải chỉ thể trên
the
cái
intention of
triết
the
lý,
Buddha, we need
cái
to put
chữ nghĩa lời nói, mà
put
nói là
into
để mình
uh, the
rõ, để mình
put
hiểu,
in
mình
put
giác
effort
ngộ,
into the
thì nó không bao giờ
practice.
đến cái chỗ
We cannot
bình đẳng
just
ở nơi cái bản thể
derive our
Phật tánh.
understanding from
Cái bình đẳng đây là bình đẳng
the words or from
bất
talking.
nhị.
Um,
Thì đó là cái đề tài của tuần này,
the
để
equality
nhắc
in
lại rõ
Buddhism is
ràng
the
những
non-dualistic
cái
equality.
ý kiến
That is the topic
đóng
of
góp
this week.
hoặc là
So
kinh nghiệm tu tập,
anybody
hoặc là
in the
thắc mắc
temple or on
về
Zoom have
Phật
any
pháp,
question or want
thì
to
liên hệ
share
Nam
your
mô
experience,
Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.
uh, we welcome your comments. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.
Kim Yến.
Kim Yến, please.
Dạ, Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni.
I'm not able to hear her voice.
Thưa thầy,
Dear Thầy, dear everyone,
thì
I think I can hear it now.
mình tham
Dear
chia
Thầy,
sẻ và người ta rất là trăn trở, bởi vì
yesterday
á,
one
thầy
of my
có
Dharma
một
friends shared with
comment
me.
là cô rất là buồn,
She was very
vì
concerned. She
cô lo rằng là
now at an
không tốt
old age and she's
vì
very
mất
worried
đi rồi á,
that
rồi vì không có gia đình á, không có người thân, không có
when
gia
she
đình,
faced death,
nên á là khi mà
because she
người
doesn't
thân
have
không có hộ
any
pháp
family members
mất đi rồi á, thì cô muốn mở thiền đường
or
để cho
her
mọi
family
người
member doesn't understand
cô
Buddhism,
sợ rằng khi mà
s-
không về
s-
với người thân á, thì sợ là làm theo các cái hình thức của bên giáo môn, mà cô là cô không
so
muốn
when she was worried that when
cô
she
muốn thiền thiền
come near her death,
thì cô lo là
uh,
không mình làm như thế, mình
I cannot hear her
sống như vậy
clearly.
á, thì không biết là mình có một cái tâm tâm niệm như vậy,
Basically, the lady
không
was
biết là
concerned about some of the
mình
rituals that
mình
people
có
is
bị
going to do for her
lo quá hay không,
funeral or
hay
her
là
death, passing away,
bắt buộc theo hình thức thiền tông là
and
phải thiêu
she
các cái nghi lễ của thiền
not
tông.
sure if her
Thì
concern
con
is
cũng xin thầy khai thị xuất tấn
a little bit too
con xin
much
cảm ơn thầy.
or how should
Thì ra
the
mỗi
rituals
Phật
for
môn
someone
thì
who's passing away be
có cái nghi
done
lễ hay là
following
tiêu
the
chuẩn nào
tradition of
gọi là
Zen?
thuộc về cái gì, thuộc về
Thầy
thiền
said
viện, thuộc về
there
Phật
actually
giáo,
there's
thuộc về
no
Phật,
standard
thuộc về chánh
or
thống,
there's no ritual
chẳng có
that following
do cái phần
any
tâm của
schools of
mình sinh ra
Buddhism
cái
like
sợ
Zen
và cái
or
tâm
Pure
tham
Land
tự
or
mình đẻ ra.
esoteric and stuff.
Tất cả
There's
đều
no
là cái
such
nhân duyên
standards or
của
rituals. It's
tất
because
cả
of
thánh hiền. Hiện tại chúng ta là
our fear
đệ
that
tử của
generates
chư tình,
a lot of
cái là
assumptions.
cứ công phu
Everything is
và
because
luôn
of
luôn
the causes and conditions. For us as practitioners, we need to ask the question, raise the doubt, focus on the practice, and pick out the learning clearly. Anything that happened is due to the cause and effects. We cannot force it other way. For example, some people think, oh, when we are a Zen practitioner, we should be like this or that. But when we face death, our mind become turbulent, and um, we start thinking a lot of things, and we want to create a lot of things. You know, when both us and our family member are not clear about Buddhism, so when we face such an urgent situation, we start getting our mind start getting turbulent, and we start trying to attach to um, anything that people give us because we were too fearful. So that is an, a way, another way to talk about the attachment of the practitioners. But if we practice well, and if our practice is strong enough, you know, then we will be able to overcome death. However we live, we will face death the same way. There are some practitioners, they seem to practice very well, uh, but the reason why they practice is because of the object of fear, fearing of gaining, of seeking, um, not because of their um, determination to get out birth and death. It's just because they fear death, they fear of sickness. That's why they uh, practice, but not because they want to liberate from birth and death. We need to stay calm and normal. Uh, doesn't matter whether we're sick or not, very sick or just lightly sick. We just need to focus on the question, asking the question, all Dharma, for example, all Dharma return to one. Where does one return to? So, for example, if our family members don't know uh, Buddhism, they might um, come up with different way to take care of our passing away. But don't worry about that. Um, it, the important thing is our practice. However, um, they do the rituals are just the cause and effects, the cause and conditions. We shouldn't uh, care too much about that because it can generate a lot of conflict and burden. For example, if our family member, even though they don't know uh, Zen, but they care about the people who pass away, they can still show up and have their own way of memorize the dead person. But we don't need to try to interfere with that. We just need to focus on our practice. If our practice is not strong enough, it means our principle retribution is not strong enough to transform the supportive retribution. Um, we shouldn't make excuse uh, to do it our own way. Don't make excuse like I need to stay close to the temple so that they can take care of my passing away the right way. Um, there's no such standards or rituals. Everything um, is normal. You know, like when people pass away, uh, we burn the dead body and the ashes go into the river, etc. For example, there was a person that we know that practiced Pure Land Buddhism, um, and even though they are very far from the temple. They uh, they try to practice reciting the Buddha name a lot. Uh, but but these people have a very great right view. They believe in their own force. They don't just rely on the outside force. They don't seek out, you know, uh, the outside assistance. They always feel ready to face death, always rely on the three jewels. Um, they um, they actually had cancer that start moving around. They can maintain their life by taking medicine, but they think living that way is suffering, and they decide to leave it alone um, and okay with going through with the death. Uh, and they also have an agreement with the hospital that after they die, please um, um, put them through cremation. Um, they don't want their family to worry about them. They don't want to um, go have to leave their body there for like 8 hours, you know. And after that, they get burned, then bring their ashes to the temple, so that one of the teacher can throw the ash to the ocean. They don't want to burden their family member at all. So that is one of the person that we know. Another one that we know is he had a heart disease. Um, Same thing. The doctor told him that um, he is at the late condition. If he want to live, he had to go through a surgery, but the percentage of being able to be alive is very low. Um, he's already in his 90s, so the percentage of him dying from the surgery is very high. So um, after that, he decided to sign the agreement with the doctor that he doesn't want to go through any surgery and he doesn't want to burden any family member. After that, at night time, he passed away. Um, and he asked to not even um, to just uh, burn his body and then bring the ash to the temple. So his family member asked him if they need to invite the teacher to see him, but he said no, he doesn't need to. So you can see that they, even though they practice the Pure Land school, they don't rely on the outside forces. They are strong enough to believe in themselves, and they feel okay to uh, cremate their body after they die. Um, So for us, don't worry too much. Try to keep our mind stable. Um, Without uh, attaching to other things. Only the practice will help us do that. And the a diligent practice and a patient practice will help them being strong and secure. And when we ask how they do, they said they stay close to the teachers and practice the same way. So from there, we can see that the most important thing is our practice, is our view. our own view, not anybody else's. Anybody else say anything doesn't matter. It's important. The important thing is we are not scared of sickness, not scared of death, not scared of doesn't have anybody to lead us uh, during the hard time, not scared of having any rituals and stuff. Uh, we come to this life because of karma. We will leave this life also because of karma. We understand good cause versus bad cause um, thanks to our practice. So the important thing is to hold on to a practice. Even when we die, we
Hiểu rồi cơ sư.
keep that practice as well. That's the most important thing for a practitioner.
Thưa thầy ạ,
That, you know, she actually understand.
thưa thầy cho con hỏi ạ.
Rồi câu hỏi gì? Mở micro lên lại. Thầy không có nghe, mời cô mở lại cái micro. Bị tắt hả? Em bảo rồi lên.
Thầy nghe rõ không ạ?
Có nghe rồi cô.
We're waiting for a lady to ask the question.
Thầy cho con hỏi là chân không và tánh không là hai thứ riêng biệt hay là một tánh một thứ ạ?
Thầy, can I ask
Chân không, diệu hữu,
the emptiness nature and
tánh không, hay nói là pháp
um,
tất cả
emptiness,
đều là biệt danh.
are they different or the same thing?
Thầy dụng mà lập danh á.
I bet all of those are different names of the self nature because of different uses. That's why we created this different names, and also because of different schools of practice, we created different names. When we say about emptiness nature, it's because the self nature originally is empty. It's not attaching to anything. It doesn't mean that there is nothing. It just means that it doesn't get stuck, doesn't have subject and object. That's why in the Heart Sutra, it is said that the nature of all dharmas are not pure, not impure, etc.
Tùy dụng lập danh mà đâu có hình tướng, đâu có số lượng, đâu có tên gọi được. Nhưng mà nói là bản thể.
So depending on the uses, we created different names. So the essence originally doesn't have any form. It actually has no form. We also refer to it as Brahma, as Tathagata, etc. So depending on the uses, we create different names. Therefore, we cannot say it is this or that. So same thing for all dharmas. Depending on the usage, we create different names. When we said the true nature, it's or the emptiness, all of them is talking about the Buddha nature, the self nature.
Các cậu không có mở được cái micro. Thôi mời hoàn cảnh đi.
Dạ con kính bạch thầy, kính thưa quý thầy, quý cô và
Chú
quý
hoàn
vị
cảnh.
đồng tham. Như cái đề tài hôm nay thì nói về cái bình đẳng
Dear Thầy, dear all Sangha and all practitioners, from the topic you're talking about today, which is equality in Buddhism, I realized this thing. When we talk about equality, it has to be in the absolute world, like for the Buddha and the patriarch, the people who already get enlightened, then they have equality because they completely end their attachment. But for our common world, when we talk about equality, it's still within um, duality. But I think if we practice and able to keep the doubt, then we will be able to partially do this equality. We will be able to keep our mind stable, not getting turbulent by the outside factors, not discriminating between self and others, not discriminating between good and bad, rich and poor. So I think if our practice is strong and we have a great belief in the mind and able to keep the practice uninterruptedly, then even though we haven't reached enlightenment yet, we still be able to have the equality in this life, meaning we don't have any object of gaining, seeking, and fearing. Could you please explain further? Thầy said, yes, like what you just explained, the Buddha always explained the same thing. So equality is rational. The non-dualistic equality, the the quality of Buddha nature. So we are right now planting the seed of rational. We are practice the action of equality. So anybody who are able to practice, they will be able to lessen the suffering in life. Our patriarch normally said we practice wattle, we have to move away the tail of the world. The farther we move away from the tail of the world, the closer we get to the wattle. Meaning, the more we move away from attachment, we are on the right path. But these words are just temporary skillful means we shouldn't attach to these words and keep counting when or where we at on that path. We are right now when we are practice, we are implementing the seed of the prajna. When the conditions are right and enough, the seed will grow into the flower, the fruit of prajna. So the skillful means of prajna, the words of prajna, help us to later on believe in the prajna. So the most important thing is the practice, and therefore the Buddha and the patriarch always remind us to overcome, to transcend our attachment, because our karmic habits, our thought of discrimination and inequality is always there, always ready to control us if we are not careful. Therefore, we have to be very cautious and always rely on the right Dharma, nurture the belief in the mind, and always practice. In order to maintain the seat of the prajna and eventually achieve the fruit of prajna. So we are right now nurturing the seed of equality. Eventually, we will get the fruit of equality.
Thế là có thể nói cái đó là có được cái mùi vị của thiền đó phải không thầy?
So we can, another way to say it is that we take the flavor of Zen, right? Thầy, he asked. Thầy said all of those have flavors of Zen. Once we apply the practice into any aspects of life, we can always apply the prajna into any aspect of our life. It is not limited to just at the temple. We can apply any time when we are awake or when we are asleep. We can always apply prajna. We cannot say we are too busy, do too much. That's why we cannot apply prajna. For example, we work the whole day or we speak the whole day, but we don't attach to it. That means we are applying the prajna. Even though we are still in duality, but we are equal and non-dualistic. We don't let those duality control us, meaning anywhere we at, we are not controlled by our thoughts or our external conditions. That's what we call don't chase after external conditions. If we think that we are able to hold on to anything clearly, whether we awake or we asleep, that might be just attachment, not the practice. So we have to be very careful. Why do we say it? The flavor of practice is because we are able to apply it anywhere, anytime. Our mind is not being controlled by the things around us. We have our own view, we have our own deep understanding, but this understanding, this insight, it happened instantaneously, not because of us putting thinking into trying to understand things. For example, if there's any conflict in the community that we live in, we will be able to harmonize all of those conflicts. Like the Buddha has an example about a pearl that if we put that pearl into any impure water, the water will turn pure. That is the way to talk about the prajna wisdom. Wherever it show up, the peace will be manifested. It's not something miracle. It's the prajna wisdom, and that wisdom affect everything around. That is also the flavor of the practice. That is the essence of the true nature of the Buddha of the 10 directions, of the 3 times. It's because we cannot utilize our own treasure that we already have. It's a pearl within our sleeve. We just need to take it out and put it to use because we cannot use it. That's why we still have a lot of concern, have attachment, and still let our object of seeking, gaining, and fearing control us. So the moment when we are able to apply the practice into our life, the practice will become stronger. We will have more belief in the practice, and we will not never even uh, forget about the practice, even just a moment. We we care about the practice just like we care about our assets, our treasure, not um, even one moment being careless and lose it. Like the page said, when the practice becomes to the point where it's something that we treasure too much that we want to protect, like we want to protect our own eye, not letting anything uh, harm our practice. That is an example to say when we have the great determination of birth and death. That is also referred to as the flavor of the practice.
Con cũng có một cái trải nghiệm chút xíu thầy tí, tức là nó một cái gì đó mình thấy trong cuộc sống trước đây
He said about it, I have a little bit experience. In the past, when I bump into obstacles in life, I become very scared, become turbulent. I start getting angry. I don't know how to resolve it, and I also feel hopeless. But when I start practicing, even when I face failure, I don't generate that strong emotion. I find a way to overcome it. I start creating plans. I put out plans, but don't attach to those. Like I still have to work for money. I still worry about my sickness as well. Sometimes I'm worried that my sickness is very severe. But then I start to find a way to overcome all of those, find different ways uh, to uh, help bring my health to be normal without getting too attached to it. I feel like we don't try. I don't try to force anything. I just watch it's doing its own course and focus on the practice, and eventually everything will resolve itself. Thầy said in every situation, or the mind, the body, the world, we will not become turbulent. We don't. We work, but we still be able to practice. It's because sometimes we are not familiar. That's why we are not able to do that. But if our belief in the mind is strong, then the practice will be uninterruptedly. Like in the past, we normally believe in fame, in like the form, and we always calculating. We always fear and calculate gain and loss. We refer to those as the 8 winds of life. They always control us and manipulate us. We said, "Oh, I'm a Buddhist practitioner. Of course, I know how to tackle them." But in reality, we got manipulated by those a lot. So if we are able to utilize the prajna, we will be able to resolve everything. All of those are within the causes and effects of the three times. But because we are not able to see it clearly, that's why we attach to those. Of course, we do have to work to make money to take care of our family. But because we are Buddhist practitioners, we have to utilize and apply prajna even when we work. So when we work and we do not have enough resources, enough plan, etc., sometimes it leads to failure. But that failure is might be a foundation for a success in the future. And for a practitioner, they never feel discouraged. They will use that as a lesson for them to continue to do it again and again, even if they keep bumping into the failure. If they understand that it might be, if it is because of their the cause and effects, and they still try to overcome all of that, eventually they will be able to reach success. Especially when we get old, you know, sometimes we are not able to compete anymore. And also because of our karma, we might not be able to be successful. But if we have the practice, we will be able to understand the situation and we will be content with our own situation and instead focus on the practice. And when we get old, sickness is unavoidable. Everybody's scared of sickness, you know. Some people might think they are not scared of the sickness, but actually if they have to face some of the severe sickness like cancer, you know, they will become so fearful. You know, they can become very depressed, very sad after they hear that news. Or if they hear that they don't have cancer, it's like they're winning a lottery. For a practitioner, you know, we face the truth. If we have sickness, then we will take medicine. So So thanks to the practice, we will not be scared of all the symptoms of the sickness. Even if that sickness lead us to death, we will not be fearful. For a person who have a strong mind, you know, they will overcome everything. Because when they fear, they lose their practice. If our mind is strong enough, we will not fear of sickness, fear of death. You know, if we maintain our practice, we know that we just need to find a way to resolve this death and birth issue. If this life we are not able to resolve this issue, we will continue to resolve it in the next life. So we are talking about to talk about the mind force, about the practice, about the belief in the mind or nurture the thought of equality, of non-duality in our mind.
Có thể mất cái gì chứ không được để mất công phu không thầy?
Can I confirm that we can lose anything but not losing the practice? Is that correct? Thầy said. So even if we lose our life, it's not as serious as losing our practice. Don't worry about deluded thoughts. Those thoughts are constant, always come up. They've been coming up for lives. Even if they come up even more, we don't need to worry about them. But when we lose our practice, our enlightenment will be delayed. That is more dangerous. Because when the moment that the practice is lost, the further the deluded thought will drag us away, and it is harder for us to get back on track. That's why the preacher always remind the practitioners, don't worry about deluded thought. We just need to worry about delayed enlightenment. So that is to refer to the action, the practice. So these words are skillful means they are not the a fixed truth, the ultimate truth, the ultimate truth is just the self nature. There is nothing else but beyond that. The time is up as well. Goodbye, everyone. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.